Hi. This is a video for the ex-Jehovah's Witness community that have been disillusioned, disappointed, and spiritually destroyed. How does one heal? And how does one retain Christian faith? A practical chapter on Christian living that I return to over and over again is Romans chapter 12. I would recommend that you read the whole of Romans chapter 12. Right now, though, I am just going to share with you from verses 9 to 13. And then we will read some of Alexander Maclaren's sermons, thoughts, based from his book, Leaves from the Tree of Life. And he's dealing with particular things in verses 11 and 12. But I'll read now 9 to 13 of Romans 12. Let love be without hypocrisy. Abhor what is evil. Cling to what is good. Be kindly, affectionate to one another with brotherly love, in honor, giving preference to one another, not lagging in diligence, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord, rejoicing in hope, patience in tribulation, continuing steadfastly in prayer, distributing to the needs of the saints, given to hospitality. So his thoughts are basically on the idea of diligence and rejoicing and prayer that I wanted to point out some thoughts he had. So we'll start with the first statement he makes about this is Paul regarded Christian doctrines as all meant to influence Christian practice. And so he attaches with a therefore a series of plain practical exhortations to the profound exhibition of the central truths of Christianity, which occupies the earlier part of this great epistle. That sequence condemns both a barren orthodoxy and a morality which attempts to produce righteousness without faith. So this is not a list of rules to follow unthinkingly, and it is not a list of beliefs to memorize and parrot. It is the desire to be God conscious, to guide how you live, and it is a healing living that will lead to joy. So he talks about if you're a Christian, this might be the case. He says, many of us would have great reason for shame if we would sit quietly down and contrast how we go about our business and how we go about our Christian life, which should be our highest, most pressing business. We begin the one early and stick to it all day. We give our whole selves to it, as we ought to do. But why does our growth in Christian character not call forth the same concentration, wide awakeness, continuous, all-dominating enthusiasm as does our success in our trade or profession? Then I've got the diligence and fervency. Oh, wait, no, that's not what I was going to read. Here it is. Many of us have as much religion as makes us somber, but not enough to make us glad. So I think it's a good contrast between how you live for your daily bread and how you live for your Christian life. He also says our emotions are not immediately in the power of our wills, but the direction of our thoughts is. We cannot resolve to be joyful, but we can choose which set of facts we will look at, whether those which tend to sadden or those which tend to make glad. If we prefer to occupy our mind with the troubles, losses, disappointments, hard work, blighted hopes of this poor sin-ridden world, or your life as a witness, now removed from it, of course sadness will come over us often, and a general gray hue will be the usual tone of our lives. So his cure is choose what to think of, and feelings will follow thoughts. Last thought here. A life that is joyful because it is hopeful will be full of calm endurance and strenuous work. Our lives will be joyful, hopeful, and patient in proportion as they are prayerful. In Paul's first letter, he gave an apparent impossible command, rejoice evermore. And he added another apparently equally impossible one, which, if obeyed, would make perpetual joy attainable. Pray without ceasing. But can we pray without ceasing? If by prayer we mean only speaking words of supplication, we cannot. But if prayer is a mental attitude of devotion, with a subconscious reference to God in all things, we can. Whether the absolute unbroken communion with God, which the apostle enjoins, can be attained in this life or not, we could approximate it to much more closely than we have done. If we are trying to keep our hearts in contact with God in the midst of daily duty, and if ever and aeon in the press of our work we cast a thought and a prayer toward Him, then hope and joy and patience will be ours in a degree that we know little about yet, but might have known long since. So I would say that this is very helpful. It was very helpful to me as a witness to learn this method of getting past the disillusionment and disappointment that I faced from the Watchtower. We ex-witnesses came from a religion that posed questions and gave answers. But a good teacher doesn't do that. A good teacher might supply you with a question, but he expects you to come to a conclusion on your own work. So I was thinking of this because when Max was a little guy and he would be doing math problems that I would give him, I'd always leave space for him to show how he came to his answer. And he would resist and just want to put the answer down. But that doesn't help you to know whether or not he's just memorized an answer or if he knows how he came to that and he can explain it. Well, that's true. God doesn't want us to be unthinking, just obeying rules or spouting doctrines by memory. We need to know how and why we are to live as Christians. So I forgot to write down the links, but I'll link something. See you next time.